Every Jujutsu sorcerer under the sun is fighting off against Sukuna. Even Miguel made a return to fight off against Sukuna, and as of chapter 256, the story is revolving around the Black Flash and how Sukuna can potentially return to full power. There's obviously the deeper meaning behind it because Black Flash is basically Yuji's go-to attack. It's his Kamehameha, let's just say. And now you have Sukuna, who has an injured heart and injured limbs, and is now using the Black Flash to recover himself, whilst Yuji is the one trying to use the Black Flash to try and slow Sukuna down and potentially even defeat Sukuna. Now, there's memes going around the internet regarding this section of the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, being that Sukuna is there beating the shit out of every Jujutsu sorcerer like a Yuji or a Yuta, and then at the end of the chapter, where the current fighter is getting a beatdown by Sukuna, another challenger will pop up. Funnily enough, this does actually happen in chapter 251. Sukuna is beating Yuta, Yuji and Rika, almost playing with them throughout the fight. And then Yuta got sliced up by Sukuna, only for then Maki to stab Sukuna through the chest, similar to how Toji ambushed Gojo in the Gojo past arc. And then a few chapters later, in chapter 254, Kusakabe is the one fighting off against Sukuna, and then when he got sliced up, Miguel came right at the end of the chapter. The story is on a complete repeat right now as of this recording. Now, as hype as I do get seeing different characters match up against Sukuna, there's like an inevitability about the fights against Sukuna. I love Kusakabe throughout this arc. For me, he has been entertaining and has kept me well informed on what's happening, especially during the Gojo vs Sukuna fight. But just because he's one of my favorite characters, did I really think he will be the one to eventually end Sukuna? Higuruma has my personal favorite domain expansion in the series, and when the anime eventually drops season 3, social media will go crazy with this domain expansion. I can see the Suits memes being made already. But again, as entertaining as his domain expansion is, as well as Higuruma's monstrous potential that even Sukuna himself was excited to see, despite all of this, there's no way he will defeat Sukuna. And the same I can say about Miguel, Hashimo, or any other character that's not part of the main character's inner circle, let's just say. The guys, in my opinion, that have a higher chance in defeating Sukuna are Yuji, Yuta with Rika, Megami if he somehow were to return and if he doesn't turn evil, maybe Maki because I feel Akutami is using Maki as a hidden message to send to his audience that you don't necessarily have to have the special talent to go far. All you need is the hunger and dedication to prove your doubters wrong, like how Maki was hated and exiled from the Zenin family. And if Gojo were to return, which, let's be real, that won't happen because Gege hates Gojo, but if by a miracle, if he were to return, then I can see a combination of all of these characters teaming up to defeat Sukuna. I don't think Sukuna will go down in a 1v1 fight. I think it will be a team effort, just like how we're seeing now. But if he were to be defeated in a 1v1, then that win will have to go to Yuji. But outside of these characters, any other character fighting him, for me, it feels like filler until one of the main characters gets there and joins the fight. Like in chapter 255, it was cool seeing Larue's curse technique, which was revealed to be Heart Catch, which will be crucial in the very next chapter as it will provide a moment of distraction for Sukuna, which will allow Yuji to land a massive Black Flash on Sukuna. We also get to see Miguel's true power, which is a prayer song. The beat he keeps with his body drives away curses and strengthens his physical abilities. Which makes sense because in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, when he was getting those hands by Gojo, I'm sure a lot of fans were thinking, how the hell is Miguel still alive? This guy is getting obliterated by Gojo and yet he still managed to tank all of his hits and is still alive. We have seen in season 1 episode 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen where Gojo just laid his hands on Yuji and it knocked him out cold. And at that time, Gojo was still by far the strongest character in the verse as well, so the chapter revealing Miguel's power cleared that up for me and I'm sure a lot of other fans as well. But yes, as good as it was seeing them in action, the chapter went up another level as soon as we saw Maki and Yuji and Chozo reappear in this chapter. For me personally, that got me hyped and excited for the chapter, which is a natural because we have been following these characters for literally the entire story, so of course I would be more hyped to see the main characters fight off against Sukuna rather than the side characters like Miguel and Larue. But now the big question I want to ask you guys, and guys, I want honest answers. I'm being honest with you guys with my videos. Every theory, every character analysis is my own take on what's happening with the story. So that's how you guys should know that I'm not bullshitting with you guys. But currently, from where we are in the story, has Jujutsu Kaisen lost its hype? And I'm strictly speaking about the manga right now. The anime will continue to receive awards. Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen received the Anime of the Year award in Crunchyroll's Anime Awards in Tokyo. So naturally, with the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and especially Season 2, the hype will be there. It animated the Gojo past arc and the Shibuya Incident arc, which are probably the most fan-favorite arcs in the series. So naturally, the hype for Season 2 will always be there. It's like Demon Slayer Season 1 Episode 19 or Demon Slayer Season 2 Episode 10. No matter what year it is, watching those episodes will always be hype and will continue to further generate hype for new anime viewers who are getting into anime. But for me, in my humble opinion, I feel the Jujutsu Kaisen hype has cooled off significantly. One of the reasons is, of course, the Season 2 of the anime has ended, so naturally there will be a cool-off period, and secondly, the rinse and repeat storytelling we are seeing with Sukuna beating one of the Jujutsu Sorcerers only for another one to pop up out of nowhere is now getting a bit too repetitive. And of course, all of these fights have been followed up with the Gojo vs Sukuna fight, which for me had the internet on lock throughout their fight, which started off officially in chapter 223 and ended in chapter 236. So the entire fight was 13 chapters, but every week it was a back and forth. One week Gojo is a fraud and Sukuna is the GOAT. The next week Sukuna is being labeled as Fraud Kuna and Gojo is the official GOAT of the series. It's like the Messi versus Ronaldo or the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan debates, which had fans from both sides at each other. But with this fight, this was happening for at least a few months. Gojo and Sukuna would always be trending on Twitter, and it's because of the hype that both sets of fans of each of these two characters are generating. I even had a casual anime fan who had never watched Jujutsu Kaisen come up to me and ask me, what side am I on, Team Sukuna or Team Gojo? That's how much hype the series had at that time. For me, this period rivaled the hype of the Season 2 anime because it was a constant back and forth with debates on which fighter between Gojo and Sukuna is having the upper hand. But for me, sadly, that level of hype during the period of the Gojo vs Sukuna fight is now gone. Now, obviously, it is a natural for that hype to cool down because it wasn't just Jujutsu Kaisen fans who wanted to see that fight. I believe a lot of anime fans who know about the series but haven't actually gone round to watch it, even these casual fans were hyped to see that fight. So, of course, with that much expectation and the sheer popularity of both these characters, it's only natural for the hype to cool off. I feel the story can get that hype again with the reveal of Yuji's curse technique and domain expansion in a final 1v1 fight against Sukuna. Or if Akutami does the unthinkable and ends the story with Sukuna defeating everyone, ending the story in the biggest cliffhanger of all time. That probably won't happen, but there's ways for Akutami to generate hype again. If he were to bring back Gojo and Megumi, that will create an instant buzz within the community and will have fans talking about seeing a potential rematch with Gojo versus Heian era Sukuna. Megumi, who we haven't seen in a long time, how has Sukuna's darkness affected his character? That will also create hype because us fans want to see if whether Megami has changed. So even in my opinion, that hype has dropped off significantly from the Jujutsu Kaisen story. Even though it's still entertaining to read, there's still ways for Akutami to generate hype again within the wider anime community with these major returns if he chooses to do so. But let me go over to you guys now. Has the Jujutsu Kaisen story lost its hype currently? I know we all love Jujutsu Kaisen. I am making videos on this series. Your tribal chief wouldn't be making videos on a series he didn't enjoy. But personally, I feel the story has lost its hype. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And as I always say, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.